Hey, what's up, fam? And this is Will Sims. And I'm just gonna make this quick video for you so that I can show you uh, what I've been talking about lately. So if you've been following me and checking out my posts and my shares lately, I've been focusing a lot on credit, getting your credit together, finances, and more importantly, access to resources and investment. A couple of weeks ago, I made a post about barriers to access. And if all you saw was barriers to access, you more than likely skipped over it. I know some people read it, but it didn't get very much engagement. I was kind of like, man, this is some good information. I really want people to read it. And my whole goal is to try to educate as much as I can with the knowledge that I have, I should say. Um, but barriers to access, when it comes to investing, and I'm talking specifically to the African American community as a whole, I do know that there are a lot of disenfranchised people, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Middle Eastern. It's all walks of life. Poverty affects everybody, but specifically who I'm referring to is the African American people, and then anybody that relates to this, and it applies to your situation. And of course, it's the same thing. But again, my target audience is my African American community, mainly because I am African American. All right. So um, when it comes to finance, there are so many different things depending on where you grow up. If you grew up in Beverly Hills versus growing up on the south side of Chicago, you know that your paradigm is going to be two different ends of the spectrum. You're going to have one where opportunity, access to nice things, nice cars, better experiences when it comes to social and economic opportunities. And then on the other side, you are going to see that there are a lot of correlation to gangs, a lot of correlation to drugs, and a negative connotation. So what we have to understand is that the world is not one view, the country is not one view, and the state is not one view. There may be a large population of various outlooks, but overall, we are made up of multiple ideas and opportunities, and our environment is going to determine a lot of times how we relate to it. So I've been sharing quite a bit about these things, and specifically barriers to access. And in this instance, it's barriers to access to the ability to get into gaining assets. We look at assets as how much money we make. We look at assets as how many cars we can buy or how big a house we can buy. But depending on where you are and depending on what your access is, that may be a depreciating thing or it may be an appreciating thing. A car loses value as soon as you drive it off the lot, unless it's an antique. Antiques that are restored and brought to pristine condition, they gain in value over the years. The same thing with homes. A lot of homes, when you buy them, they depreciate. The property value goes down depending on where you purchase and what that community does. However, when you go to certain areas like a historical district, it gains, it appreciates as time goes on, because that community, how you view and take care of those assets, will determine whether that asset appreciates or depreciates. Um, I hope depreciates is a real word because I'm just talking off the top of my head, but either way, you'll get to what I'm saying. So I'm going to show you, I've been talking about assets again, and I am now going to open my not newest, but my next step in my progression in gaining assets. So I have been purchasing Bitcoin. I do have a nice crypto portfolio that does contain Bitcoin. I do not purchase Bitcoin, so my accumulation does not come from me buying Bitcoin. My accumulation comes from me gaining it through trading. I do trade Bitcoin. I also gain Bitcoin by providing services and products to people, and they pay me in Bitcoin. So there are different ways that you can obtain these resources. There are different ways that you can obtain, these assets. But the one that I'm focusing on right now is gold and silver. So I shared a video a few days ago, and I just ripped this open, and I just want to show you what we're getting. So I'm taking this out, and you probably saw that. There we go, 7K. Here's a vault report, and what this is referring to is building wealth and obtaining assets that are going to appreciate over time. So I want you to look in your pocket or call your parents or talk to somebody and ask them, when is the last time that you had real gold or real silver? And if you watch what's going on in the world, you see that as time goes on, we are looking at the value of the dollar. It is tanking. They print money like there's no tomorrow. And although I don't believe that our economy is going to crash, it never hurts to have assets. So I just want to show you what I'm obtaining. Okay. This is silver. This is silver. I am obtaining assets. I am obtaining gold and I am obtaining silver. And the difference between you and I is I'm not referring to a gold chain or a silver chain or a piece of jewelry. I am referring to assets that I can put and I can leave for my children, and they will appreciate over time. So what this is, this opportunity, this is the removal of a barrier to access, a removal of the barrier to access for wealth building, for wealth accumulation, and for leaving an inheritance for my children. So I am now in the process of obtaining precious metals. And as these continue to come, when you go through and do some of the training on it, which I do have available for you if you are interested, the training does teach you about how these accumulate over time. And one good example is back in the late 80s and early 90s when I was a kid, I used to see these Silver Eagle commercials where they would sell these coins from the US Mint. And I would always say, I'm going to buy one day. Well, if I would have bought one for 26 bucks or 19.99 or whatever it was back in 1989 and the early 90s, that 20 bucks or even 30 bucks, whatever it was, would have turned into a few $1,000s now just for having one of these. So 10, 15, 20 years from now, this coin here is going to be worth multiple times its current value. And imagine if you are collecting these things, when it gets to a point where it's time for us to leave something for our children, we'll have something to pass down. All right. So I just want you to know that just follow me. I'm not going to show you nothing that I'm not doing myself. It's easy to do. It doesn't require a huge investment. And there are ways that you can do this. Normally, purchasing silver bullion, gold bullion, things like that is reserved for those that have access, being able to purchase in large quantities. But we do have a way that we are able to get these on a regular basis. And you don't have to wait for an infomercial to come on. You don't have to wait for the next time you're up in the middle of the night and you see it. No, a financial advisor is not going to tell you to do this. They're going to try to get you to put your money in a mutual fund and things like that. There is nothing wrong with it, but just diversify your portfolio. So now I'm adding precious metals, I'm adding gold, I'm adding silver, and I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. And my goal is to continue to put out more of these informational videos, just explaining processes, and then extending the opportunity to grow with me. We'll have a team that I'm growing with, and I'd like for you to be a part of it. Thanks.